know about it. The reason why the code uses the term old in connection with this is that the key that Rudolf Hess took to Britain was in use before this key was brought to light. Now the reason why there's a blank 0 in the word code here is because when you fill it in, it leaves the initials LD, and they relate to the fact that the code that Adolf Hitler had was first discovered by Leonardo da Vinci. Hess flew to Britain. He demanded to speak to Lord Hamilton. He wouldn't speak to anybody else. Now the reason why is because Hess found instructions in the code to deliver the code to Lord Hamilton in Britain. Now here the code shows the plan. Code to Hess. Britons. Hamilton and Kelly. Phonetic spelling is commonly used in Anna's code, but okay. There's not really any need to film this bit, just getting something out of here. Anna's code relates to numbers by the single-digit numerological alphabet. It's very simple logic that existed a long time before I knew about the existence of Anna's code. It simply starts with A as 1, takes you up to number 9, and then starts at 1 again, so that it goes 1 to 9, 1 to 9, 1 to 8. So every letter of the alphabet is represented by a single-digit number, and the code uses numbers to great effect. Okay. The Anna code reveals the fact that the British MOD have been hiding Da Vinci's key since Rudolf Hess took it to them in 1941. Of course, this is an example of one of the reasons why they're hiding the code. It's because it exposes all of their secrets. Note carefully, Leonardo da Vinci kept this, my lost rose. Leonardo da Vinci was the Grand Master of the Prieuré de Sion, the keepers of the secret of the code. The Prieuré de Sion hid da Vinci's keys on tombstones scattered all around Europe, disguised as tombstone inscriptions. One of these keys was later discovered by Saunier, the Catholic priest in the French village of Rennes-le-Château, and later rediscovered by Adolf Hitler. Winston Churchill was the British Prime Minister at the time of the Rudolf Hess Da Vinci Code deception. The next thing that I'm going to show you is a secret that most people realise already exists. The letters NY stand for New York, and by the numerological alphabet, the letters I, S and S are 911, which is 9/11. When I first found this code link, I didn't know the meaning of the word that I was left with here and had to look it up in a dictionary. The word rook in English means deception. Now, the configuration of the numbers in this line by the letters ISS also serve another purpose by identifying which other intelligence agency was involved in that deception. This is the name that British intelligence call themselves by. The CIA, the British MOD and British intelligence are not the only people who have known about the existence of the code for a long time. This line gives away another culprit. The ANA code uses inverted symbols that show other letters, and because it's also Latin based, the symbol V represents the letter U, and the ANA code is designed to use that fact. The next thing that I'm going to show you is the fact that the code relates to reality with great precision, and the use of numbers is one of the ways in which it does it. This document here is an original document given to me by the Australian Department of Immigration. Here the initials that they use in their logo are clearly shown, DIMIA. Now, I was given this document several months after the iron rod key had been completed, and on it shows the number that they call my client ID number, and that number contains 11 numbers. Now, the code provided proof for DIMIA by use of their own client ID number that they allocated to the Kelly family. After putting down the words Ross Kelly's client ID number, the code key leaves 11 letters. Now, those 11 letters correspond precisely to the 11-digit number that DIMIA gave to us. They are 1, 1, 2, 5, 9, 0, 0, 8, 8, 4, and 9. The code then goes on to clarify the issue by pointing out the people who gave us the client ID number, and the way it does it is by using my son Ben's name. And Ben was also covered by this DIMIA client ID number. In the alphabet, the letter R is the number 9, and so is the letter I. So if I do this, we still have the same DIMIA client ID number, but by doing so, we also have this. Now that shows that my son's name had to be Ben in order to identify whose clients the Kelly family were. From this little demonstration, a discerning mind should be able to comprehend that what it means is that that number was a predetermined fact. It was something that was coded in the code before we were given it. The next thing I'm going to show you is that that did not happen as a fluke, that there are other documented proofs that relate to identification numbers that prove that all identification numbers are predetermined by a single intelligence. Right, when we arrived back in Britain after being deported by the Australian authorities, I had to open a post office account to have my benefit money paid into because I had no work to go back to. Now, this is the original document that the British Post Office sent me to tell me what my PIN number for the card they had given me is. Now, I had to peel off a sticker here to reveal the number, which you can see is 0010. Now we'll see how the code relates to that identification number. Here we have R. Kelly's PIN numbers in this code data, and what we are left with is the PIN number. I'm going to show you that the code isn't just designed to relate to my ID numbers. It contains proofs for everybody, and the example that I'm going to show you is one that was taken from Arundhati Roy's book, The God of Small Things. This is a blown-up photocopy of a page that shows the ISBN number of Arundhati Roy's book. And this is how the code relates to that number. That's 8186939024, which is the same as the ISBN number. After spending 7 months in Demia's Villawood Detention Centre, we eventually realised that there was no way that they were going to allow us to win our case. We were claiming political asylum. They knew that we were telling them the truth, but they dare not allow us to win the case because the whole truth about it would have come out. So we allowed them then to deport us back to Britain. Now, not long after arriving back in Britain, I found in the code lines that identified the killers of Diana Spencer. I found the code that proves the real reason why she was murdered, that she was murdered, and by whom she was murdered. And when I found those lines, I also found code links that related to the death of David Kelly that proved the real reason for his death too. Now, during that code search, I came upon code links that directed me to send the information to the Metropolitan Police in London, but I didn't know who to send it to. So I took my problem to Elaine, my wife, and said I don't know who our link would be. And 5 minutes after doing so, she called me back to her and pointed out a letter that she had found in the Guardian newspaper that had been sent in by a lady named Commander Cressida Dick of the Metropolitan Police. She is a very high-ranking police officer in London. Now, when I checked her name in the code, I found that the code verified that she is the person that I was meant to send the Diana links to, so I compiled a letter for her. After doing so, I cut out the letter that Cressida Dick had sent to the Guardian newspaper, which I'll show you here. Here you can see her name. A little while after cutting out the newspaper cutting, I glanced at the back of it and noticed that I had isolated the words "a note" from what had previously been a headline of the article that was on the back of Cressida's letter. This made me examine the article, and what I found was that the whole article here is an article about the philosopher Plato. Now, because this had happened, I knew that there was something significant about it and that the clue would be in the code. Now, when I looked at the code key, this is what I found as Cressida Dick's own personal proof about the murder of Diana Spencer and David Kelly and a number of other people who have died by having knowledge of this thing. Here we go. Now, when I found this line, I did not know the meaning of these three letters. The word rye I knew was a word, but I didn't know what it meant, and I had to look it up in a dictionary. When I did, I found that rye means contorted. Contorted means something that's stretched out of shape or not its original shape.